Many anthropologists believe the human species dates back at least 3 million years. For most of our history, our ancestors lived a precarious existence as hunters and gatherers. This lifestyle kept the total population down, as no formal agriculture or community lifestyles had been established. Human population has not been an issue for the bulk of human history, as high infant mortality rates, war, famine, as well as poor technology has limited the growth of populations. However, after major agricultural, medical, and industrial advancements, the population of the Earth exploded from about 300 million to the current rate of over 7 billion, as birth rates have become much higher than death rates. Many diseases that devastated the population for most of human history have been eradicated in the last 100 years with cures and vaccines. Not only are people living longer, children are surviving at a much higher rate, as most childhood illnesses have also been eradicated. Another major reason for the spike in population is the agricultural revolution, which changed the way food was produced. The ag revolution resulted in quicker and larger crop yields, which lowered food prices, allowing for population growth. After the Industrial Revolution, there was a spike in population in developed countries as the quality of life increased to the point where larger families were not an issue. This trend continued around the world as when countries began developing and increasing their quality of life, a spike in their population followed. There has not been many limits to population control around the world, as the only formal policy restricting having children is China's one-child policy. Although this policy is highly controversial, it is seen by some as a success. It has limited their growth as well as seen major growth in their economy. Currently, India is experiencing the greatest amount of population growth, as the UN has estimated a growth of as high as 1 billion in the next 12 years. Although population growth has slowed for the world as a whole, this UN report reminds us that some developing countries, especially in Asia and Africa, are still growing rapidly. According to the UN, developing countries with high levels of fertility, such as Nigeria, Congo, Ethiopia, and Uganda, are expected to see population growth continue over the next few decades. Population growth has put a much greater stress on the environment as oil and coal production has skyrocketed as a result of greater demand. This has led to huge depletion of natural resources as well as a great deal of air, water, and land pollution. The amount of people has also stressed the infrastructure of the earth, as although there is a great amount of land space still available for the human population, the most fertile lands are seeing ecosystem destruction to make way for cheaper agricultural development. The population will continue to grow as life expectancy will increase in both developed and developing regions, which will create an even greater demand for energy. As this graph shows, the human population was relatively stable as it took roughly 250,000 years for the population to reach 1 billion. The trend begins to spike upwards as it took about 130 more years to reach 2 billion, 30 more to reach 3 billion, 14 years apiece to reach 4 and 5 billion, while 12 more years apiece to reach 6 and 7 billion respectively. Although the era of acceleration is over for population growth, the continued rise of population will put greater stresses on the environment.